YouTube. Welcome back to BMC Self-Invent. This is Brendan talking. I'm going to be giving you a reaction video today on a controversial video by Jordan Peterson. He had a little discussion with his daughter. Going to have some of my reactions and inputs and criticisms, if any. I don't think I criticized it at all. It is what it is. Enjoy.
A couple weeks ago, you tweeted something out
good,
that, I'm gonna bring it up, that got a crazy amount of attention, which, did it?
Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition, I believe you're referring to.
Yes.
I tweeted out, sorry, not beautiful. Yeah, people weren't very happy with that.
And then everyone got upset.
Yes, they did. And then I left Twitter again, more or less, right after that, and everyone assumed that that was why, and it wasn't.
No.
It was, I suppose in some sense it was, because what happened was an indication of the problem with Twitter. But I had been not reading Twitter comments for about 3 weeks, although I had been tweeting through an intermediary, one of my staff members, so I'd email him a tweet, but not reading comments because I found that quite
irksome.
Yeah,
like you're associating with the
devil.
Sure. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, it was like sort of like standing in a public park where anybody, no matter who they were, could come up and yell at you to any size audience about anything they wanted, day or night. And so I've been thinking that through. I'm going to write an article about what's wrong with Twitter and social media in general. But no, I looked at the Sports Illustrated cover, and they had a rather overweight young woman, quite symmetrical, so nice facial features and so forth, with a very revealing swimsuit on the cover. And I thought,
yeah, I could see where Jordan Peterson would have a problem with that. I do too. Sports Illustration is supposed to be a magazine that exhibits the best in athleticity, or whatever you want to call it. The best of the athletic world when it comes to performance and the look that comes with it. And, you know, I haven't looked at one of those magazines since I was in high school when it comes to the swimsuit edition. And as a married man, I don't recommend it. You can get in a lot of trouble. But that's a side note, you know. You don't want to piss off your wife. But here's the thing, you know, it's a showcase of the best and the fittest. I know myself, I wouldn't want to even advocate to put myself on there because I sort of let myself go, and I've been back at the gym now for about 3 weeks now, and I'm trying to kill off my dad bod and go back to being a fit bod. And yeah, let's see what else they have to say, you know.
no, like not in a personal way, but it's unbelievably manipulative for about 3 different reasons. The first is it's a very tawdry attempt to capitalize on cheap sales. Yes. And I mean cheap in a specific way. Sports Illustrated hit the gold mine with their swimsuit cover, I suppose 20 years ago, whenever they established that. Because it was obviously it's a sports magazine, so it's about athletics.
Yep, that's exactly
it's about
what
athletic
I just said.
people. It's about
That's
athletic bodies, and they had a swimsuit issue, and it really was a big hit. And then it became kind of a cultural icon, and it's a very specific kind of cultural icon because it focuses on a very exceptional.
There you have it again, people. That's what I just mentioned before about that magazine. It is supposed to be an exhibition of the best in the athletic world. People that are putting in their time, their effort, their hours, their stress, their finances, you name it. You know, it's supposed to be a celebration of what can be achieved if you bust your ass off and work hard.
Just all kind of high-end beauty. And so that beauty would involve symmetry and signals of youth, because that's part of beauty, sexual beauty, physical beauty, waist to hip ratio for women, but with Sports Illustrated, it's also highlighting a kind of athleticism in body type. And that's a very specific form of beauty. You have to be young, you have to be female, generally, you have to be extremely athletic, you have to be shapely in a very particular way, and that would be with a waist-to-hip ratio of 0.68, because that's what's been established cross-culturally as ideal from the perspective of male sexual interest, let's say, but that's also associated with fertility.
Yeah.
And so it's a marker that has a biological basis. And so even if you're a very beautiful woman, you're hard-pressed to be beautiful enough to be on the cover of Sports Illustrated for the swimsuit issue. And so it's a pinnacle achievement of sorts, and it's focused on a very idealized and specific form of beauty. And that's obviously exclusionary. It's obviously exclusionary. It excludes.
There's that word, exclusionary. A lot of people from my generation seem to have a problem with being exclusive. But the reality is, you're foregoing the thought of merit, the thought of making your own way, the thought of, and the application per se of making it work, getting it done. What do you expect? Of course it's going to exclude people, and of course people are going to be a little butthurt over it. You know, am I advocating you go out and start, calling large people names and being obtuse about it? No. But understand that, standards are standards, and we shouldn't really be thinking it's all just one big joke. At the end of the day, one of the sad byproducts of the body positivity movement is it sort of took away the self-accountability of taking care of yourself. All you have to do is just look, even 20 years back, 30 years back, 80 years back, and what percentage of people were in the overweight category? You know what I mean? Like, seriously, what the heck happened? Yours truly as well. Like, I just let myself go. And one of the hardest things I had to do is I gave up drinking beer and I gave up drinking pop. And basically my carb intake is down to almost zero. And I'm working out, I'm lifting the weights I used to, and within a week I saw an average of a 5-pound reduction just from the working out alone, and another 5-pound reduction just from giving up those shitty junk food items.
Everyone. Right. And it does that to highlight a kind of ideal, and that's a particular ideal of beauty. And there are some cultural boundaries around that, so you could say, well, it's a westernized form of beauty. It's like, yeah, and you can point to Rubens' paintings of more plump women and say, well, there's an exception. It's like, great, you think you're a genius for finding that exception. Good for you. You know the Rubens painting. Like, more power to you. But that doesn't mean anything at all about the universality of images of beauty. And so the cover bothered me a lot because it was cheap manipulation of something that had been working very well for Sports Illustrated. It was also an insistence that all of a sudden this non-athletic body type is as beautiful as the standard swimsuit model for Sports Illustrated. And it's not. It's not as athletic, and it's not as healthy, and that's that.
Oh, he is so right on that point. Oh my goodness. Yeah, no, if that's what they want, they should be advertising their manufactured idea of beauty in their own magazine. I agree on that one. But to be equal to those that worked hard, that are athletic, those that put in the time and the effort and the hours, you don't have to starve yourself stupid to have a good-looking body. That's some serious runway shit. Even I don't like. To me, trying to become a supermodel by going bulimic or anorexic. No, we're talking about people that work hard, they lift the weights, both men and women. And no, ladies, you're not going to put on muscle the same way a man does, regardless of how much weight you lift. So don't be afraid of losing your femininity. You just don't have the hormones for it. You just got to do what you got to do. I would suggest that you just hit the gym and cut the shitty food out. And it's a hard thing to do, especially, if you have an addictive personality. I remember when I gave up smoking cigarettes about a good 20 years ago. Oh God, goodness gracious, was that the hardest thing to ever give up? Holy shit. And I find myself going through the aches and the pains, and I had hot flashes and night sweats for like an entire week just because I quit smoking. And I did it all cold turkey too, man. That was the hardest thing I ever gave up. So if I can give up cigarettes, I can also give up my pop, and I can also give up my beer. Okay, but it's hard work. And yeah, you gotta control yourself, get your addictions under wraps. And overeating is not only probably a substitute to fill an empty void in your heart or whatever you're doing. You should see a shrink about that stuff, or a psychologist per se. But it's also an addiction. What do I know about addiction? Can't say I'm a qualified psychologist, but I have many family members who are former alcoholics, and some of them are living on the street and for many years, and they were doing hard drugs. But you know what? At the end of the day, you still have to make it work. You got to control yourself, and if it means suffering cold turkey, that's just the way to do it, man. But you can do it if you really put the work into it. You just got to be willing to suffer and put in the hours. And that goes for eating and working out and hitting the gym.
And it's also not arbitrary. And so the whole thing is a lie. And then it's a lie that's a manipulation of that young woman. Now, she partakes in that because she participates in it. But it's still, they're not on her side. They're exploiting her, as far as I'm concerned. And she may be participating in that exploitation, but they're still exploiting her. So don't pull any moral stunts on me because you're irritated about my opinion about the Sports Illustrated cover, when it's bloody clear to anybody with eyes that was manipulative in 20 different ways.
Is a big manipulation.
And I'm also not willing to sack.
That whole guilt trip nonsense is not the way to get your point across, especially with this guy here. He is savage when it comes to telling you the truth. He is brutally honest. Don't mess around with Jordan Peterson, man. Even I can tell when someone's trying to manipulate me into following some sort of ideological mantra of some sort. Then I'll listen to you. Doesn't mean I'll subscribe to it. I want to hear it out for myself. You better come at me with a good argument if you want me to agree with you anything. Just to let you know, I am a conservative. I'm a complementarian. And I do believe in traditional Judeo-Christian household. You don't have to. I recommend it though. Once it's practiced correctly, it works. I also believe in trying to work your way into good health again. You don't have to stay in a rut. Let's keep going.
Sacrifice these ideals for inclusiveness. It's like, no, not everyone's a genius. No, not everyone's Picasso. No, not everyone's young and healthy. And no, not everyone is a Sports Illustrated swimsuit model, period. And fuck you if you don't like it. So that's basically...
Oh my goodness, this guy is savage. Man, fuck you. I shouldn't be saying those words. Like I said, I love my God and my faith, but... Oh my goodness. That's just putting it the way it should be, man. Sometimes these knuckleheads on the left just need to be put in their place. Whether they agree with you or disagree with you, if they try to manipulate you, actually that goes for anybody. Even people on the right. In my side of things, they can be very manipulative, and sometimes they believe in freedom of speech as long as it's in favor of them and they won't listen to yours. So sometimes you just got to give them the big F you and shut them up so they'll actually listen to you. Like I said, guys, you want to push and persuade your talking points, you really should come up with a good argument instead of a manipulation. Because not all of us buy into that crap.
what I thought about that. I certainly didn't think it would cause as much trouble as it did. You know, when people were on my case for being mean, it's
man,
like,
you're
yeah, I
awesome,
know, I'm
Jordan.
always mean because, you know, that's...
Well, also, like, life is hard and, like, life is mean, right? And it's hard for people. First of all, I have great sympathy for anybody overweight because of the health struggles I went through. And you lost a whole bunch of weight. It's not like being overweight's fun,
they've been there.
right?
No.
That's a whole other problem to get into.
They've done
with,
that, and they've worked it
I
out.
think people have such an issue losing weight
Screw around.
Yeah.
that society
terrible.
has said, you
Take
know
it
what,
seriously.
it's fine.
It's not
Because
fine.
you've had so much
Yeah,
trouble
it's
that it's
terrible.
probably your
I'm doing
genetics.
a-
So
Well,
you
and
might.
there's truth in
Working
that.
at the
Like,
same
when I
time.
look at someone who's obese on the street, I think, oh, that's too bad. Like, that's
Yeah.
too bad. I don't think, you know, obese pig eats too much, has no self-control. I don't
Yeah.
think that. I think bad mismatch between genetic proclivity and appalling diet. And the appalling diet is basically, we're not going to get into this, but basically carbohydrate heavy and sugar loaded. And fair enough, you know, we tried hard, the whole world, to make calorie...
I like how he mentioned that there is truth. Genetics do play a role in your metabolism. But you know what, people? At the end of the day, you have to work within your means. If your genetics leave you vulnerable to a slower metabolism and inability to digest food faster than the other, or calories, and burn them off, or do something with them, which means you pack it on as stored energy, which is what we call body fat. Yeah, you need to slow it down. And for me, it was the other way around. Like, for me, I had the opposite problem back when I was in high school. I used to eat like a horse. I used to do everything I can to get bigger and stronger and lift weights. And I think the cigarette smoking had something to do with that, though, because I smoked through my entire high school life. For the life of me, I could not put on weight. I was 5'11" and 140 pounds. That's a skinny average male. And I couldn't get strong. I tried. I really tried to get strong, and I just couldn't do it. You know, a lifestyle with a combination of bad genetics, you know, you got to work it out. You got to work with what you have and make it work. Make it work. Get it done. That's the theme of my channel, man. This is why I like this guy. When I listen to Jordan Peterson, obviously, you know, I don't take everything he says as gospel. You know, it's not the gospel. But I will listen to what he has to say on certain things. And yeah, another thing I'm working my way towards is I'm trying to establish myself as either a Sigma or an Alpha male, because you know, I was raised by my mom, and that's great. God bless my mom for trying so hard to raise me. You know, my dad's a POS who didn't bother contributing anything to my life. Anything. Wouldn't even pay child support. You know, I had to figure it all out on my own, what manhood is, and what I've learned is I've been taught the wrong brand of manhood because I had the wrong people teaching me. That's why I'm listening to these guys like Jordan Peterson, more logical people. I don't want to be like some obnoxious prick that wants to push around betas or other zetas and gammas and whatever you want to call them. You know, but I do want to learn how to be more effective as a man, because I think there's a place for manhood in society still. So, that's, like I said, I listened to hard truths. That's why I walked away from the left.
cheap. And we did that.
And we did
So
that.
no one's starving, and great. But now we have an obesity problem, and it's a major problem. And I'm not going to pretend that it's okay. It's not okay. That doesn't mean I don't have sympathy for it. And I'm not willing to sacrifice any ideals for this idiot inclusiveness. I'm done with that.
right.
And so should everyone else be. And I think most...
Well said, Jordan. Well said. I really appreciate this guy. Anyways, guys, like and subscribe. Hit the bell. Tell me what you think about this talk. I know he might come off as a pompous ass, but sometimes you need to listen to a pompous ass. You know, you can't always just listen to opinions that are favorable. Nope. You gotta do what you gotta do. Anyways, cheers, guys.